blind man, there are moments in my life that are full of hilarity, marvel, and fun. And there are moments that are full of humiliation, regret, and shame. Let's start out with a few of those. But first and foremost, let me tell you a little bit about me. My name is Brandon Schiafone. I am a professional crash test dummy. I run into about 35 things a day, and I'm probably not going to stop anytime soon. So how did I get here? Well, I am one of two male children of an Italian family who were born with something called Alström syndrome. And what that is it's a rare genetic condition that's affected 1,000 to 1,500 people in known medical history. We don't know how we haven't won the lottery yet. But what the syndrome does is it affects your eyes, your ears, your weight, your organs. You can get diabetes from it, all kinds of fun things. I was lucky enough to be on the less severe side of the spectrum. I had, for those of you familiar with vision acuity, about 2,300 vision growing up from when I was born till about age 20. Then slowly, things began to decline. And by the age of 23, I was happily running my ex-fiancée into tables in Sears. However, much like many other adverse moments in your life, I was going through a little bit of denial when all this was happening. And there were a couple of moments where I had to come to terms with the fact that I was losing my peepers. So let me tell you about one of the most embarrassing moments when denial came crashing down around my ears. I was at the gym, walking around without my trusty friend. And I walked up to an ab roller. So what that is you sit down, you put your arms over your head, and you go forward, as well as I can do that with holding a stick and a microphone. And even though I was in a little bit of a denial about losing my vision, I was in a habit of reaching down and feeling something before I sat down on it, just to make sure I wasn't sitting on anyone's lap or a box cutter or anything that might leave me going home in a stretcher. So lo and behold, I put my hand down onto another gentleman. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish I could tell you that my hand touched his arm. I wish I could tell you that my hand touched his knee. But no, my hand slipped in right here. Probably the 6th or 7th most sexual place to touch on a gentleman. And all he said to me was, "Dude." And I just stood up and walked away. And this gentleman saw another gentleman touching his leg. I had no cane, I had no dog, I had no sunglasses on. My head wasn't up rocking like this. He didn't know. I couldn't blame him. Fast forward a number of years. I have officially lost my sight. And I am as independent as I could possibly be at the time of my life to which I am. I'm at the GO station, taking a train to Niagara Falls. And everything went smoothly. I went up and I bought my ticket. I turned, I walked around, using my cane to find a chair, and I found this lovely thing, whatever this happens to be. I feel around, and, everything's fine. I find a chair, I go to sit, and I hear, "Don't move!" So, I think I'm about to die, because who wouldn't? If you can't see and someone yells, "Don't move." But I'm frozen like this. Ladies and gentlemen, I am a big man. This is not a flattering position for me. I am stuck like this because someone said don't move, and naturally I stopped. So I'm here, waiting for the gun to go off, when suddenly that voice yells again, "You're about to sit on my child!" So I'm stuck like this, hoping she's not talking to me. And she gently comes, takes my arm, and pulls me away. Says, "Sir, I'm talking to you. you were about to sit on my little girl. Ladies and gentlemen, out of all the moments of being a blind man, that is the closest I have come to committing murder. And it is one of the most humiliating moments in my life. I've stepped on stages and I've told people the time that I tried to clean my desk with a tin of shaving cream. I have told people the time where a cab driver picked up my leg and tried to put it in the cab, and I asked him when we were going on our first date. I've shared stories about apologizing to coat racks and sitting on the lap of Santa Claus when I was young and falling right off. And I always can share those with a smile, but this story was one that I always made sure to lock away because I was embarrassed. I almost sat on a poor child. Nothing that I've ever done has compared to that in terms of potential embarrassment and potential tragedy, really. I was talking to a friend of mine, and we were up late sharing stories like good friends often do. And he says, "Tell me something you never told me before." And I said, "Okay, here we go. I'm going to tell you about the time I almost killed a small child." And I did. And he said to me, "I've heard you speak about a million different things, and you've never told me this? That is hilarious!" And I'm like, "Oh, God, you really think so?" And he's like, "Yeah." And it was just him saying yeah in the way he did, where it's like, in a tone like, "You don't think so? Why don't you think so? If you don't think that you sitting on a small child is funny, we're not even friends anymore." So, with his encouragement, I stand before you today telling you that even though you may sit on a child or two in your days, there's no point in getting hung up in your story, in your head, about something that you find embarrassing. Because what happened happened when it happened, and you can't change it, but you can always look back and find a fun story in the journey. Thank you very much.